Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing and community every weekday. We've been doing so since March 18th, 2020. Today, it is Wednesday, March 25th, 2026. That is a whole lot of Torah, more than 6 years of Torah every single day with friends like Scott and Bensi, Marion and Susie. Penny, good to see you. Jonathan and Michelle. Penny, thanks. It's broadcast 1516. Tara and Barbara, Lydia, good to see all of you. Let's see who's here also on Facebook so we can say some good mornings on both screens. Barry, nice to see you too. Boker Tov, good morning. We'll give a second for everybody to catch up. There we go. John and Adrian, Minna, and Arlene, Jack, sending love to Ohio. Hope everyone is doing okay. Let's take a breath. In a moment, we're going to sing a bracha on a newly tuned guitar again. I've decided tuning a guitar is a good idea. Debbie, Grace, nice to see you. I'm not sure that's your first name, but Grace Gratitude, welcome. Nice to see you here. Kate and Debbie, Linda and Natalie, Nathalia and Moosh. Nice to see you, my friend. It's been a long time. Hi, Cynthia. Celia and Sharon, good morning. All right, let's take a breath, sing a bracha, learn some Torah. Welcome and good morning, everybody. Sorry that I wasn't able to say welcome to everybody. I'm in a little bit of a time crunch. One of the commitments that we have as UJA and one of the privileges of my role is to spend time in the weeks leading up to Pesach with many companies all around Manhattan with their Jewish ERGs, their employee resource groups, or with different affinity groups that they have that might be interfaith. And so I have been blessed for the last long while, number of years, and especially right now, to visit and to do some Pesach teaching and to bring love and support and celebration and joy to many different companies. I'll be doing so pretty quickly, so I'll make this a short broadcast. It's really lovely, though, to say happy birthday to Michelle, that's Jack's wife, I believe. Happy birthday to her. And I think I saw that it was Cecile's birthday too. So happy birthday, Cecile. Okay, let's get right to some Torah today. It is a fascinating thing to watch the different ways in which the book of Leviticus focuses on ritual and also on people. Those are not necessarily two different things because many of the rituals that we focus on are based in community or maybe even in the individual. I just saw that today is also Linda's birthday. Happy birthday, Linda. Don't want to leave you out. And Karen, thank you for grounding us in what today is the commemoration of. It is the 115th anniversary of the Triangle Factory fire. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. We'll see if I can weave that into the theme, but at the very least, we should know that our community, the Jewish community on the Lower East Side, was involved in the creation of the unions to support safety for workers um, before and certainly in the aftermath of that terrible disaster. The way the Torah, especially the book of Leviticus, the focuses on the people, also shifts because in Leviticus, in Vayikra, we have the focus on the priests, on the tribe of Levi. That's why it's called Leviticus, Levi. In Hebrew, we call it Vayikra, but in Greek, it was called Levitikon, and for us, it's Torat Kohanim. It's the Torah specifically for that tribe, the priests and the Levites. And in order for us to understand this, we have to remember that by dint of birth, not by choice, all of the male descendants of Aaron had the responsibility of serving as religious leaders, and that came at also a great personal cost, a risk. You served as a Kohen, which means you were more intimate with the divine, and as we will see soon in the book, not this Parsha, but soon, that was very dangerous. And so the instructions for the priests in this part of the Parsha should be heard and understood and appreciated because it was a hard job that they didn't choose. They were literally called to this work. And before I look at the verse, let me just ask us, because for some of us, we have a sense of calling. It's not language that we use casually, but there are times where we find ourselves engaged either professionally or as people doing the thing that we think we're here to do. Some describe that as flow state, where you know that your purpose is aligned with your actual commitments. I feel very blessed in this way. I did choose this role, but the longer I've been doing it, the more I feel like it might have chosen me. And I hope that that feels true for you as well, that what you are doing in life, caring for others, being a professional in whatever way, is something that feels attuned to who you are, not just what you do. The priests had no question about this. They were born into service. And the language in chapter 8 of the book of Leviticus, this is verse 33 in particular, tells us how it influenced their lives, literally controlling where they could be. Because we have just witnessed in earlier chapters and at the end of Exodus the consecration of the Mishkan, the tabernacle. We have also read about the inauguration of the priesthood. But there is an in-between time, and this is what this verse is about. Chapter 8, verse 33. In the Hebrew, Umipetach ohel moed lo teitzu shivat yamim ad yom loot yemei milu echem ki shivat yamim yemale et yedchem. In English, you shall not go outside the entrance to the tent of meeting for 7 days, until the day that your period of ordination is completed. For your ordination will require 7 days. In English, translating from the English, the priests, when they were inaugurated, had to spend 7 days inside the tent of meeting. And after those 7 days, we're told they had to leave in order to do their work, instructing the people what was right to do and being of service with the sacrifices. This is an interesting thing. Some of us are familiar with the idea of 7 days in the space and the 8th day, by tradition, leaving the space. We have this in Shiva. But we have many different 7 days plus 1 day. Hanukkah is an example of this. Sukkot, the way we observe it, is similar to this. Pesach coming up is similar to this. But what you might not have picked up on in the English translation is the Hebrew word miluim. Some of us are aware of the connotation, the modern use of the word miluim. The word miluim in the verse comes from the word mloot, ad yom mloot yemei milu echem, until the period of time that your ordination is completed. And there are multiple translations here. Let me see if I can find an alternative. The Gift of Sepharia, if you haven't been playing on it as much as I have, is you can find so many translations. The days of full mandating, says the Shockin Bible. That would take too much time to redefine into English again. But Miluim in modern Hebrew is the reserves for Tzahal in Israel. And there have been soldiers who have been serving in Miluim for hundreds and hundreds of days of the last 3 years. There are organizations that are trying to help them because their small businesses are struggling because of how long they have been serving. Miluim is after your mandatory military service. You go back for a month every period of time, or sometimes an extended period of time. And so what I share with you here is that this verse tells us that there is an in-between time between service and service that is for contemplation, for us to reflect on what it means to have a life that's dedicated to something bigger than the self. We must take the time to reflect on this. Let me make this practical for us, not in terms of Parshat Tzav, but in terms of Pesach, because that's coming up. Because the other period of time that you might realize we had to be in a space and could not leave, and then had to leave, is just before liberation, just before the Exodus. We are told in the Torah, and we'll look at this next week as we get ready for Pesach in a little bit more detail, that we are supposed to be in our homes as we offer the Korban Pesach, the sacrifice for Pesach, eating it with our families, which is not quite a Seder, but is the model for some of it. The door has to be shut and sealed with blood, because it's dangerous to go out there. And it is so important for us to understand that the Israelites' experience is not one of leaning to the left. It's one of trepidation. Yes, it's the first time the celebration of the Korban Pesach, the sacrifice of the Paschal Lamb. But it isn't done with luxury. It isn't done with ease. It is done while being contained, by being constrained. Perhaps, of course, I don't think this is what was happening then. That was a period of time in which our ancestors contemplated what freedom was supposed to mean, because it had been a long time since they had that thought. The priests here are after the Exodus, after the giving of the Torah, after the completion of the Mishkan, the tabernacle, but no one had done this work yet. And so it may be that what was required was a buffer time, a time to reflect on what is happening inside of the priest's consciousness before they are to be of service, and then they move forward, but only after that 7-day period of time. So let me offer again something practical for us. It is 7 days before Seder. We shouldn't feel constrained or trapped in our space. But right now, many of our family members are in Israel. They are constrained. They are running to shelters many, many times per day throughout Israel. Not just in the north where it's been constant, but in Tel Aviv where it's been consistent. Bnei Brak, where a munition went off, a cluster bomb went off just yesterday. And Arad and Dimona in the south just 3 days ago. We have been on the ground. UJA has been on the ground every minute of what's been going on. But I invite you, friends, to contemplate for yourselves, what must Pesach bring us into the world to do? We aren't priests necessarily. You may be the descendant of Aaron, in which case, Mazel Tov. But we are, as the Torah calls us to be, a Mamlechet Kohanim, a kingdom of priests. It doesn't mean we're sequestered, but it might mean that we have to think hard about the service we are called to render for the sake of others. Pesach is so much about this. It's not a wandering, aimless freedom. It is a purposeful freedom. So I bless us to think about this, to give our hearts to it, to take the time that the world rarely offers, to really think about what our purpose may be in the world, and then how to guide our lives toward it. Let's take a breath. We'll sing a bracha, as we've done already, but this time it'll be the Hatikva. Od lo avda tikvatenu. We do not lose hope. Holon balev penima nefesh Yehudi homia ulefate mizrach kadima ayin letzion Sophia od lo avda tikvateinu hatikva bat shnot alpayim להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים. להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים. Am Yisrael Chai. See you tomorrow, my friends.